everyone. Come on in because this is going to be my review of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 13. And I do recap reviews on all the individual couples, plus I do the after party. So be sure to watch them all. And my name is Deborah. And now we're moving on to Nicole and Chris. And this was a week when we were going back to everyone's childhood, hearing all their trauma stories. And let me tell you, I was interested in hearing everyone else's stories, but Nicole and Chris, because I've had enough. I've had enough. These two are exhausting me. I'm going to need therapy after listening to them for so long. I'm going to need my own therapy because they are draining me with these trauma stories. Maybe this is good for them. Maybe this bonds them. But let me tell you, I sure hope this is all because Married at First Sight keeps asking them to tell more and more stories. And they got plenty of them. They got plenty of stories, one after another. I mean, they one up each other. One person tells a trauma story. The other one comes right back and tells a bigger one. I mean, my gosh, I can't listen to it anymore. I can't listen to any of these trauma stories anymore with Nicole and Chris. I really can't listen to them anymore. It's too many of them, and they keep coming and coming and coming and coming. I'm tired of them. I'm happy for them. They seem like the perfect couple. So since from the very beginning, I knew they were going to be perfect for each other. They are perfect for each other because they never get tired of hearing each other's stories. And then when they do, they can have these little goofy moments together as well. I love that about them. She don't seem bothered by these wild ass dogs all over the bed with their private parts all over the pillows where you lay your head. I don't want to lay my head and my nose on a pillow where some dog's coochie has been or some dog's butt has been. Those dogs are wild. Those dogs are wild. She don't care. That's good. Remember back when he told us he didn't change those sheets for a whole month? And we were like, ugh, that's nasty. But even at that time, I thought it was maybe the dog was sleeping at the foot of the bed. But now we figure out what these dogs are really doing in that bed all over the pillows too. And you ain't washed them sheets for a whole month. That is nasty. They're perfect for each other. Chris want to say why women left him. He thinks it's all because he was too nice. Boy, no. People weren't leaving you because you too nice. People were not leaving. People were leaving you because most people don't want to hear these sad stories all the time. And most women aren't going to want to sleep in a bed in which your dog's been all over the bed. No. You're not getting no date. You're not getting no sex. You're not getting none of that. None of that. He came up with the wrong reason of why women was dumping him. The wrong reason. But he found the perfect woman, Nicole, because Nicole don't want to be single for nothing. She want to be married. And this girl is working hard. She is putting in the work. And you know what? Eventually it's going to become who she is. Right now she has to fight against it. But eventually it's going to become a part of her. It's going to get easier and easier for her. She's toning her stuff down. She's toning it down because she knows she can't be that girl anymore. Because it won't work well with Chris, and she's toning it down. But eventually, it's going to be a part of her, which is a good thing. It's almost like a diet. You know what they say, that you really shouldn't go on diets. It should be a lifestyle change. Because if you're just trying to eat a certain type of way just so you can lose your 10 pounds or 15 pounds, when you say to your mind you're off the diet, then you go back, you're just going to gain the weight back. It's a lifestyle change. You got to resign yourself and say, this is not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. So what Nicole is doing in this marriage, in this 8-week experiment, she's saying, this is not a diet. I'm not going to just try to be a person for 8 weeks. And then after 8 weeks, I can be whoever I want to be. What she's saying is, I'm trying to make a lifestyle change. I'm trying to make changes that are going to last a lifetime, a lifestyle change. And she's actually doing it the right way, because that's how you have to look at it. You can't look at it as, I'm just going to do this for 8 weeks so I can get a yes. What she's saying is, I want to make changes that are going to last a lifetime. And she knows that other part of Nicole, what she likes to do her way, whatever she wants to do, run over people, it won't last a lifetime. It won't. She needs to make more systematic and deeper changes. And that's what she's doing. She's working hard. I'm going to give her flowers because Nicole is working hard. And let me tell you, in order for a marriage to work, you actually do have to have that mentality. You have to have the mentality that there's some parts about me, both people have to say, there's some parts about me that actually have to just die. They have to die in that single life, because going into married life, those things don't serve me well. You can't look at, I'm just going to do them sometimes here and there. No, you actually got to kill parts of your old self so that a new person can rise up in this marriage. Not a whole new person no one recognizes, but there's parts of you that absolutely have to die when you move from being single to being married. So that's why I tell people, anybody walking around talking about, I want to be with someone who accepts me completely as I am, I say, well, you're going to have a problem in marriage. Because no one is going to accept you 100% for completely who you are. You're going to have to change something. What that is, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what it is, but your partner will tell you. Your partner will tell you what you need to change in order for your marriage to work. And you're going to have to be willing to do it if you want your marriage to work. And if you don't want to change it, keep looking for that person who is going to accept everything about you. And the reason why it's such a ridiculous thing for people to say is because you ain't going to accept everything about anyone else. When's the last time you were in a relationship and then asked your mate to change one thing? When's the last time you accepted a person, everything about them, and you didn't want them to change nothing? Never. I'm going to speak for you. Never happened. So the fact that someone will go in a relationship saying, I want someone to accept me just as I am. No. The change may be slow. The change may be over a process. You may have to continually work on it. But for you to go in and say, I ain't even going to work on nothing because I don't want to change nothing, that's a problem. That's a problem. Somebody's going to need a commitment that you're going to work on this. Doesn't mean doesn't mean they have to wait until you've done all the work, but they're going to need to see you are willing to do it. One, acknowledging it, willing to do it and working on it. Not sitting over here talking about I ain't changing nothing. So kudos to Nicole. Kudos to Nicole for digging deep and really wanting to change some things about herself. And everybody is saying that Chris is a pushover. To be honest with you, Nicole is actually doing the majority of the changing. So I don't know how people are getting this notion that Nicole is actually running over Chris, because the person doing the most change in the relationship is actually Nicole. Chris is over here kind of still doing the same thing. Chris is still over here letting his dogs run wild and not washing his sheets. Chris tends to think that he's just this wonderful, nice guy, and everybody else has had the problem running over him. He says the only thing he needs to do differently is stand up to people. That's what he said. He says the only thing he needs to do is stand up to people. Everybody needs change. Everybody needs to do something. And I'm going to tell you, Chris in this doom and gloom, these sad trauma stories, the first thing I would need to ask him is stop telling them. I've heard them all. I don't want to hear them no more. I want to hear happiness and joy and how wonderful things are now. I've heard all your sad stories. I don't want to hear anymore. So the change I would want from Chris is, I'm glad you shared the stories, but I don't want to hear them no more. I know your past. I know where you came from, but I don't want to hear about another ex-girlfriend, what another ex-girlfriend did to you. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear no stories about your mama, your daddy, nothing. No more stories. I've had enough. In every story that Chris tells, he was a victim. I was a victim to my dad. My mom had this boyfriend who was horrible. I was a victim to the boyfriend. I was a victim to my mom. I should have stood up to my mom. I should have done all these different things. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear it. But I like the two. I like them together. I really do like them together. I think they're going to actually have a good, long, healthy marriage. But I think sometimes they're going to have to both drop the trauma stories. I think at one point in time, you know what they need to do? They need to do what we do, me and my husband and my family, we do every New Year's Eve. We do what's called a burning bowl. And what we do is we write down pieces of paper, all the things we want to leave in the year past. So we make a big campfire. We go outside, we make a campfire or a fire pit. We write on pieces of paper, what don't you want to take in to the next year? What do we want to say we need to let this die in this year? This New Year's Eve, Chris and Nicole need to write down all their diaries with all their sad stories, where they kept it on pieces of paper, get it all out. Then they need to go to the fire pit and they need to throw it in the fire pit and says that's where it stays. We're not going to talk about it anymore. We're not going to bring it up anymore. We're going to move forward with a new life. And our conversation is going to be filled with talking about the future, not the past. Our life is going to be talking about all the wonderful things in our future, not all the horrible things in our past. It's great to look back because like I said, dial it back, figure it out. But you can't stay in the past. Okay? You can't stay in the past. It's like a rear view mirror. Yeah, you want to be able to look back, but eventually you got to keep your eyes on the road in front of you. And right now, Chris and Nicole, they look back too much. They look back to, and that's actually what scares them because they keep looking back at the back stories and then they get afraid of, is that going to happen again? Stop turning around. Don't be like Lot's wife in the Bible. Don't turn around because you're going to turn into salt. Don't turn around. I'm going to be like the Lord and tell them, flee, 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 and don't turn around. Don't look back because you're going to turn into salt. And that's what I'm telling Nicole and Chris. Look forward. Go ahead. You guys got a bright future. You're a good parent. You're good together. Look forward. Look forward. But that's it, y'all. Be sure to watch my other videos. Talk to you later. Bye.